Yeah, all right. Hey, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm sure you had a nice lunch and very nice lunch. So thank you. Thank you for having me today. I am Yogendra. I go by Yogi. And it's not only having me here, but also it's been like 5 years I've been on stage presenting. And the last I was presented was in Suk, Bangalore itself. But that was virtually from Netherlands, where we were when search text was the thing then. But it's been almost 5 years, and I feel a little nervous, but bear with me. But we'll finish the presentation today anyway. So I'm Yogendra. I'm from DiVerra Consulting. So DiVerra is my own. I just started. I just moved a couple of weeks ago from Ireland to India. So I also started like you all from Sitecore, from the world of Sitecore, being a .NET developer, also build teams. So I was responsible for building the entire practice for Indigene, where few of my colleagues are here, and few of the people whom I interviewed are also here during then. And it's good to be see here because Sitecore, I think wherever I was in, like in Sitecore, because I lived in Europe for long, and during my times in Europe, so Europe was the big thing. And wherever I go there, I see colleagues from Bangalore or moved there, or Sitecore would have bought them. So Sitecore is not only a technology to use, but also been emotional with me. And Sitecore has bought me, and then helped me travel all around the world, and I'm here. So having that note, as I told you, like I've been with Sitecore for long. I started off as a .NET developer, multiple developers, and then increased by grades and levels. Last job that I did in India was a Sitecore architect, and then I went to a company called Mirabeau that's been acquired by Cognizant, and that's the center of excellence to build center of excellence in Netherlands. That's why I moved to Netherlands, and from there I moved to Macau. Macau is also a top 5 Sitecore consultancies in Europe, and from there since then that's been with the technology consulting, where I've been consulting and seeing clients, the problems closer with them between small, medium, and large clients. So it's the same problem Sitecore tries to solve. It's the CMS problem. It's the digital experience problem, connecting all the systems, being the integrator. But the level and the depth of the problem, and then depth of the solution made me more curious, and that's how I learned the different depths and basics of Sitecore. And I got monotonous with the technology consulting, like in terms of like being the close confident, right? Uh, Likewise, because whenever you write a proposal and try to convince the client on call, it's always difficult to say, hey, you've done everything, all the analysis, all the research is with you. The figures are also with you. Why didn't you just give us a chance? We'll make a difference to you. But then that used to be a mentor. So I got tired of it. And then I went to client side. So my last job was with a company called Henry Schein. They're Amazon of healthcare supplies based in US, and 90-year-old company, some 35 and odd. And I managed a budget of 50 million for leading Sitecore practice, where Deloitte, TCS was a support vendor, and we had a older legacy website where All2Do was also. But I was the Sitecore SME, also responsible for Sitecore practice, to build Sitecore practice. And I see a few of them also were part of my team here. So glad to see you. So taking that into account from a client side, etc. So I don't want to go deep. I haven't been to Sitecore Symposium, but most of this has been my reading, and then through interviews with my friends, Sitecore MVs who attended Sitecore, and my colleagues who attended Sitecore Symposium. But I want to relay some of it, but more through the lens of, rather than a tactical or developer lens, I want to do it more from a business value proposition, right? So Sitecore AI is not a big jargon, but Sitecore AI is nothing but the XM Cloud rebranded in a way. But the information, or it just not gets rebranded there, because as I told you, like Sitecore, we solve the same problem, having a digital experience system, so that you could build websites, your personalization, you could make hyper personalization, you can message almost or near real time based on your integrations for the customer. So given the background, earlier gone are the days where we used to have content experiences is the thing, where content is the king. But now with XM Cloud and with SaaS products, distribution has become God. So I think that's the era we are in. So the era that we are in is how we distribute, how we make it relevant, how we understand the segments, how we understand the customers. Do we have the right insights to action? So because due to the the marketing era, etc. I mean the old political geopolitical instances, the marketing budgets are going less and less because they have to, because of the new tariffs, compliances. The business has to spend more there, where the IT spend is going little less, or comparatively, in what I have seen, sorry, is going down. And the challenge with the marketing teams is they have to evolve with the customer behaviors. And for that, AI is the thing that they're looking up to. So in a way, the composition of the team is also going to change in future, where the monotonous or the regular work is going to be uh, taken out by AI agents. Like in a way, for example, in AI automation world, the first thing was robotic process automation, where UiPath has automated a lot of functional requirements to that of the product. Similarly, the same thing is happening in the content world, if I have to take an analogy, where most of the monotonous or regular research, drafting the first content is taken over by agentic AI. And that's the reason why Sitecore has started betting on AI agent. I had the good fortune because we were evaluating migrating the Sitecore. The previous company was on Sitecore XP 10.1. It's almost headless, but not fully headless. And with Angular Stack as the front end, we had our own challenges. And we were evaluating working directly with Sitecore products team and their enterprise sales team to focus on, what's on the roadmap and how we can map it with our own business value. So during the time, I had the good fortune to visit Sitecore in New York and visit, because most of our concerns was related to AI agent and then the data governance and the control. So they called us directly to Microsoft office, their headquarters in the regional headquarters in New York, and had a workshop. So through that, it gave a lot of insights into whatever we call Sitecore AI. So I have put all those insights in this presentation. So taking that into account, as I said, evolving customer behavior, content experiences is not the thing, but the distribution is the god now. And evolving, so while with the distribution, the main thing is multi-channel and the complexity that comes with it. And on top of that, the multilingual and the compliance, etc. So all these are the three things, both act as a barrier, but also given the solution, treating it right can act as an enhancer or enabler to the organization as well. Taking that into account, so Sitecore AI, I strongly feel it's more like a three-stacked one. On top of that, it's as I told, it's a rebranding of XM Cloud into Sitecore AI. And in the middle layer, or the thing that's powering is unifying, CDP, etc. They all used to be in different products, but they unified everything into one layer. They connected it. And the third one that's powering everything is, AI is sitting on top. So since how long most of, I mean, if I have to ask you, so how long most of you, what's the average experience in the room with Sitecore like? 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, okay. 8 years. Anyone else? 11, okay. Varun, you might be the longest. 15, okay. So yeah, because why I think is like, horizontal also close to me, because I used to brainstorm a lot when I was setting up my indigenous practice with Kiran, who used to be based out of Vadodara when horizontal was Dimble then. So now he moved to Minnesota. So we're still in touch. So the point is, why I'm asking that is because if when you are installing or upgrading, if you're more than 8 years, like if you have used with Sitecore 8 and below the versions, once you install, the main thing, or with upgrade, when you check the differentiator, or when you do the difference between the scripts or upgrade scripts, the key thing that you see is the Sitecore schema, and that's the biggest IP of Sitecore. So what with Sitecore AI, Sitecore has done is they have rewritten that. They made it cloud friendly, because the evolution of Sitecore is tightly dependent with Microsoft evolution. They used to be more Microsoft services dependent, where you can install Sitecore only on Windows system, etc. But now you have the luxury to install it in Linux, etc. How that had come is due to the fact of .NET evolution from MVC to that of .NET Core triggered it, because .NET Core became an OS agnostic system, and that OS agnostics transferred into all the services that relied on top of that. from architectural perspective. That gave an unique business advantage for Sitecore to lower down the cost because Microsoft license is not cheap. Even if you have to buy your Microsoft Office, it comes with certain cost and maintenance and uplift cost every year. But whereas with .NET Core opening up, it gave a plethora of opportunity, not only for Sitecore, but also other vendors like Optimizely, CrownPeak. So for them to quickly touch up and then move all their monolith or dependent systems into microservice oriented and Azure bus driven. So cloud native, making it cloud native. Let's say like, from a on-premise installer to cloud native. And that cloud native transferred into Sitecore being an XM cloud product. But what Sitecore so far didn't do is rewriting the template engine. But with Sitecore AI, they have written under the hood. They have rewritten that rules under the hood. They transferred everything into Cosmos DB. And Cosmos DB is a NoSQL, so no relationship driven. So it's only API driven. So with on top of GraphQL API, you have the optimization, and then you have the distribution optimization. So taking that into account as a foundation, let's deep dive into what are the 4 characteristics that you get with Sitecore AI. And I'll also talk later after deep diving on the capabilities. I'll also deep dive into what critical questions you get from business in order to convince them to adapt. So that I know most of us either build on projects, etc. If you are involved with RFPs and RFP, these are the critical questions you would face from client. So as I told, as we are moving from content experiences to that of AI experiences. So the main thing that you need a capability is AI assisted content. So where you should be able to have to draft the content or first draft of content quickly, and not only for component but also at a page level, etc. But the main things that you get with the page level is even though you have highest responsive design, the literals that you do between order, while localization and translation comes into play. Primarily revising the content creation, the flow becomes difficult, and that's where your agents, everything come into play. But looking at the enterprise value, because most of the enterprises here, they may have leaner marketing teams, but they not have leaner content teams. So they always rely on agents, etc. So an extra coordination step is required. So with this, you'll be eliminating that extra hop as well as bringing the business value. So that's the business value you get here. So it speeds up the authoring process as well as speeds up the page creation, thereby taking them faster to the market. So that's the first AI assisted content. And one more thing, forgot to mention, but if there is if you're unclear or if you need any questions, please raise it. You don't need to wait till the end. And the second one is, since we're talking about content, so we talked about the authoring experience and the soft dollar. Like for example, why I call authoring experience. If you're saving on hosting costs, license costs, business call it hard dollar, but this is the soft dollar where you get. Any efficiency improvements is a soft dollar that you get, which can be part of your business value proposition to the customer. So this feature is already there, but they have enhanced. The smart tagging is the feature that they have with Sitecore AI has enhanced. How it has enhanced is, as we have relationship in Content Hub between the objects, but asset is the key thing. So between the asset is the schema that you modify and then create a lot of Content Hub objects. But that assets has become relationless under the hood. So they became metadata properties in Cosmos DB, and that's fetchable. So thereby the API query, the fetching, the publishing time is improved. And during that case, smart tagging is also another thing, where another layer in the pipeline of processing for creation of new assets or updation of new asset. It talks to an OpenAI content and provides a smart tagging abilities as well. And apart from that, once you have smart tagging, you can govern the rules and thereby provide content governance as well as the AI-driven content. So basically, what you define AI-driven content governance is more about tuning the tone, the voice, how brand aware it is. It's more than. So with that, since your smart tagging and then your governance becomes easy, you don't need a human intervention. So you only becomes a fully human intervention to a supervised human intervention where you reduced a lot of effort and time on governance. And that's a big business value. So if you count the number of people, whoever is in the asset team, times the salaries of hours, you can bring the value of a business proposition. And last but not least is automated personalization, since as I told with unified thing. So you have a lot of enriched, from search, you can gather contextual data, the search data, etc. And also with connecting with content, DAM, etc. So you could bring enriched, automated, hyper personalized. It's hyper personalized. You may not see much value, especially if you have a low segment of customers that you're serving the website to. But especially if you're looking at enterprise and if you have more and more customers, you see the value to it. And more geographically distributed teams, that's where you see the value. And last but not least is AI Agent Studio. As I said in my introduction, so the monotonous work or the regular work like researching, basic researching, you can always look at agents. So there are around 5 to 10 agents that will come out of free in Agent Studio. So in terms of the cost of license, this is where you spend. So you reduce the manual effort, but you spend on customizing the number of agents. Like I think in 10 years ago when we used to do, so your cost in license cost is depend on the number of CD servers or the number of master database. Similarly here, the cost model will add one more layer. So the layer will be the number of agents that you want to customize to. So taking this into account, this is more at foundationally what Sitecore is going to offer with Sitecore AI from a business value proposition. But if you are an enterprise architect and if you're a subject matter expert sitting inside client, there are also a few critical questions we have to bring forward Sitecore AI as a project in front of them, convince them for a budget. So I listed out few critical questions primarily on the data integration. So you have now, although it's unified, right? But how would you harmonize the data in between, right? So how would you do that? So in the world of AI agents, how does Sitecore? So you're as good as your data. Let's say there are many organizations, they have moved everything into databases, but the databases are disparate to each other. So there is no unified data strategy. So the focus should be more on the quality of the data that you get. You understand your customer, that will enrich your CMS or anything after to it. But can Sitecore help during that? Yes, Sitecore can help, but we still need to think as an architects and as a thought leaders, we should still think about how Sitecore data can be ingested, cleansed, integrated with other systems. So if it creates a new data jargon model that cannot be actioned, business may be reluctant to adopt. So that should not be the case, like how simply it can be moved. So this will be one of the critical questions. So as I said, AI is derived from metadata. So if your data is not good, or metadata is not good, is the meta insights cannot generate any predictive analytics or like actionable items for your marketer. The next one is about customization and control. As I said, like 10 agents, 5 or 10 agents is the figure, I believe. I'm not sure, but so those are the 5 or 10 agents that you get for free. But even if you're free, how can you be so deterministic about their output, right? The quality of output, whether you can control, whether you can, how can you like, especially is it transparent, right? So is it black box to you? If Sitecore gives you a box and then you cannot configure or you cannot tune the output. So in the world of LLMs, it's also called channel outputting. So the degree of control is what this question primarily focuses on. And how can we govern them? Because especially if you're looking at healthcare, etc., although XM Cloud is HIPAA compliant, but they're still reluctant to share patient data because of the inference and the imperatives that you get. So how would we, there are many strategies like anonymizing, etc. And what's the part towards operational AI? So it's just not about building the product, right? If you have questions so many at the product build stage itself, or how can we make it adopt? Adoption is more like citizen development. We might be specialist in Sitecore, but how can a citizen developer or how can a citizen marketer understand it in terms of adoption as well as how you use it? So that's where if you're looking at from an enterprise lens or a client lens perspective, not only look at just technology adoption, but also like the user adoption, like what sort of extra training. So the good thing is Sitecore is embedding Sitecore AI into their support packages. So where you can have consultants or You can bring a lot of workshops along with it, but these questions need to be fixed first, or thought forward first before making a proposal, or thinking about it. And apart from it, from summarizing all of this, right, Sitecore AI, although there are many critical questions, Sitecore AI is not a blocker, right? It enhances the digital experience. It makes us a step forward. So as a consultant, or as a specialist, it's our duty to bring clarity from complexity and certainty from ambiguity. Taking that into account, but Sitecore AI also supports scale, which we have seen in XM Cloud. It has scaled well, and they have rewritten the published service, which was the bottleneck. They have rewritten. Sitecore AI has rewritten the published services. And future roadmap, they're aligning more towards AI native, because AI with new versions of ChatGPT, etc., is also growing more towards general intelligence of humans. And once we have general intelligence, it's kind of normalized. So what we call common sense is general intelligence in the world of AI. With that, I close my session. Any questions? Any questions are welcome. Any questions are welcome. Yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. So that's my LinkedIn. And thank you for the opportunity.